Welcome, seekers of truth and wanderers of the unseen path. There is a saying, to be chosen is to walk alone, for the crowd fears the one who carries the light. Throughout history, those who are set apart, the ones with divine purpose, find themselves walking a road less traveled, a path where love and companionship often seem like distant mirages. This is not because they are incapable of love, nor because they reject human connection, but because the journey of the chosen is fundamentally different from that of others. Their path is often filled with trials that require unwavering focus, and romantic relationships, for all their beauty, can often become distractions rather than sources of strength. Why do the chosen ones remain isolated, especially when it comes to love? Is it a divine restriction, a spiritual barrier, or merely a consequence of the calling they carry? Today, we will uncover the deeper spiritual truths behind this mystery. Truths that may help you understand your own journey if you feel this sense of solitude within your soul. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any revelations about the life of the chosen. Now, let's dive in. To be chosen means to be burdened with a purpose that transcends personal desires. The weight of this calling is not something that can be shared easily, nor is it something that allows for divided attention. Romance, for most, is a fulfilling pursuit, a source of joy, comfort, and companionship. But for those who are called to a higher mission, love often comes second to the demands of destiny. The emotional depth required for a relationship can conflict with the depth of spiritual responsibility that the chosen ones carry. Their mind is constantly engaged in matters beyond the ordinary: visions, divine messages, spiritual battles. They experience life on a level that others may not understand, making it difficult for them to fully engage in the kind of give and take that relationships require. It's not that they don't desire love, but rather that their purpose outweighs their personal longing. In moments of potential connection, they often find themselves torn between two paths, one that leads toward human intimacy and one that leads toward divine fulfillment. The latter always calls louder. This is why so many chosen ones find that their relationships either never take root or eventually fall apart. The weight of destiny does not allow for partial devotion, and many find that love, as the world defines it, demands a level of compromise that they simply cannot afford to make. There is also an unseen force at work. When a person is truly chosen, they are spiritually protected in ways they may not fully recognize. If a relationship does not align with their divine mission, it will be disrupted, either by external circumstances or by an unshakable inner knowing that it is not meant to be. The more they resist this truth, the more they suffer. It is not rejection, but redirection. Many believe love is the highest calling, but for the chosen, their calling is higher than love. Their solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. Love is often described as the great unifier, the force that brings two souls into harmony. But for the chosen ones, love rarely flows with ease. It is not that they are unworthy of love, nor that they reject companionship. It is that they vibrate at a different frequency than most. Energy is a powerful force, and those who carry a divine calling emit a frequency that few can match. They think differently, feel differently, and perceive reality in a way that sets them apart. This distinction makes it difficult for them to form deep connections with others, even when they long for companionship. Their conversations often feel disconnected, as if they are speaking a language that others do not understand. While they crave depth, they are often met with surface-level interactions that leave them feeling unfulfilled. This mismatch is not intentional. It is simply the result of existing in a different spiritual reality. Most people are focused on earthly matters: success, status, relationships, and material gain. The chosen, however, are attuned to a higher plane. They are constantly receiving insights, revelations, and spiritual downloads that pull them away from the ordinary. This creates a barrier in relationships. Even when they try to engage, there is often an underlying sense of detachment, a feeling that something is missing. This is why so many chosen ones feel alone, even in a crowded room, and why their relationships often fail before they even begin. The gap between their world and that of others is simply too vast. It is not a matter of arrogance or superiority. It is a reality that they must come to accept. When someone operates at a different spiritual frequency, they cannot force alignment with those who do not share their vibration. The chosen must either lower themselves to fit in, which weakens their calling, or accept their isolation as part of the journey. The more they embrace this truth, the less they suffer. They begin to understand that their loneliness is not a flaw, but a sign of their distinction. Their heartache is not punishment. It is proof that they are set apart. And while they may long for companionship, they must remember that their true connection will never be found in the ordinary. It will only be found in the extraordinary. Love is often described as a force that brings two souls together in perfect harmony. But for the chosen ones, love and calling often stand in direct opposition. To love deeply means to surrender part of oneself to another, to merge dreams and paths into one. But for those who are set apart, their calling does not allow for such a merging. Romantic relationships come with expectations. They require attention, care, and compromise. But the chosen are not called to a life of compromise. They are called to a life of surrender, not to another person, but to a mission that requires their undivided focus. This creates an internal conflict that few can understand. When they attempt to engage in relationships, they often find themselves feeling torn. On one hand, they desire the warmth of companionship, the comfort of human connection. On the other, they feel an undeniable pull toward their purpose, a force that reminds them that their time is not their own. No matter how much they may wish to balance both, they inevitably find themselves being drawn back to their higher calling. Many chosen ones experience repeated cycles of failed relationships, not because they are incapable of love, but because love, at least in the earthly sense, demands something they cannot fully give. Their spirit is restless, always moving, always searching. When they attempt to settle down, something within them resists. This is not a flaw, but a sign that they are not meant for an ordinary path. This does not mean they will never find love, but it does mean that their love story will be different from most. It will not come through seeking or through striving. It will come only when it aligns with their purpose. And until that time, they must be willing to walk alone. To be chosen is to walk a path that is unfamiliar to most. The depth of this journey is often met with misunderstanding, confusion, and even fear from those who do not share the same calling. Relationships, by nature, require a sense of mutual understanding and alignment. But when one walks a road that few can comprehend, the ability to connect with others becomes significantly harder. This is not a rejection of love. Nor is it a conscious decision to remain distant. Rather, it is an unspoken reality. The chosen ones carry an energy that repels those who do not resonate with their mission. This happens not because of personal flaws, but because of the nature of their path. Their very presence can make others uncomfortable, even if no words are exchanged. Many chosen ones have experienced this firsthand. They enter a room, and without doing anything, they sense a shift in the atmosphere. People either gravitate toward them with curiosity or withdraw with unease. This reaction is not personal, it is spiritual. Those who live by the ways of the world often feel uneasy in the presence of someone whose spirit operates on a different plane. It is a silent, invisible force that creates a barrier between the chosen and those who are not meant to be part of their journey. Romantic connections require vulnerability, a willingness to be fully seen and accepted. But when someone carries a unique spiritual calling, that vulnerability often results in distance rather than closeness. Many chosen ones have felt the sting of rejection, not because of their actions, but because their presence itself disrupts the norm. This can be a painful realization. It can lead to questioning. Why does love never seem to work for me? Why do relationships always end before they begin? The answer lies in the unseen. The chosen do not belong to the ordinary world, and the world can sense it. Their path is not one of comfort, but of purpose, and that purpose often isolates them, even from those they long to be close to. Understanding this truth can bring peace. It shifts the perspective from one of rejection to one of protection. If relationships continuously fall apart, it is not because something is wrong with the chosen. It is because something is right with them. They are being preserved, set apart for something beyond what they can currently see. The chosen must learn to embrace this reality, to accept that their journey will not look like the journey of others. Their love story, if it is meant to happen, will not be written by the world's standards. It will be written by the divine, and it will come in a form that aligns with their higher calling. Until that time, they must walk in faith, trusting that their isolation is not a curse, but a sacred shield. Many believe that love will complete them, that finding a romantic partner will bring the wholeness they seek. This belief is so deeply ingrained in society that those who remain single for extended periods often feel as if something is missing. But for the chosen, this is an illusion. Their completion does not come from another person. It comes from their purpose. The desire for companionship is natural. Humans were created for connection, for shared experiences and emotional intimacy. But for the chosen, their primary connection is not to another human, but to their divine mission. This changes everything. Many chosen ones have attempted to pursue relationships only to find themselves feeling emptier than before. They may enter into a romantic connection with hope, believing that it will bring fulfillment, only to realize that the bond does not truly satisfy them. This is not because love is wrong, but because their soul is searching for something greater than what earthly relationships can provide. For the chosen, romance can sometimes be a detour rather than a destination. It can create a temporary sense of joy, but if it doesn't align with their purpose, it will eventually become a burden. Some find themselves in relationships that drain their energy, that pull them away from their mission, rather than propelling them forward. They may love deeply, but love alone is not enough if it stands in the way of their calling. This is why so many chosen ones experience love that seems to slip through their fingers. They may meet someone who seems perfect on paper, someone who checks all the boxes, yet something still feels off. No matter how much they try to make it work, the relationship never quite fits. It is like trying to force a puzzle piece into a space where it was never meant to belong. The illusion of romantic salvation is one of the greatest challenges the chosen face. Society tells them that love will heal their wounds, that it will fill the emptiness they sometimes feel. But the truth is, their soul is longing for something far greater, something that cannot be found in another person. When the chosen accept this, they stop seeking love in the way the world defines it. They begin to see that their wholeness does not depend on a partner, but on their connection to the divine. Their fulfillment comes from walking their path, from embracing their mission without hesitation. This does not mean they will never experience love, but it does mean that their love will not come in the way they expect. It will not be something they chase. It will be something that aligns effortlessly with their journey. And until that time, they must be willing to walk alone, knowing that their solitude is not emptiness, but divine preparation. The heart of the chosen is not easily accessed. It is a sacred space, guarded not by fear, but by wisdom. Those who have been called to a higher purpose understand that love is not simply an emotion. It is a force that can either strengthen or weaken them. Because of this, they do not give their heart away lightly. The chosen ones love deeply, but they love selectively. They understand that not every connection is meant to last, and not every person who enters their life is meant to stay. Their soul carries a knowing, an ability to discern when love is real and when it is merely a distraction. This discernment often leads them to walk away from relationships that others might cling to. They may feel drawn to someone, but if they sense that the connection is not aligned with their mission, they will choose solitude over compromise. This is not an easy choice, but it is a necessary one. Many do not understand this. They mistake the chosen's caution for coldness, their distance for indifference. But those who walk this path know the truth. They are not avoiding love. They are protecting their purpose. They are ensuring that their heart remains a place of strength, not weakness. The chosen ones do not fear love, but they fear losing themselves. They fear being pulled away from their mission, being entangled in relationships that drain their energy rather than fueling their spirit. This is why they guard their heart, why they wait for a connection that does not require them to diminish who they are. This kind of love is rare, but it is not impossible. The chosen are not destined for loneliness, but they are destined for a different kind of love, a love that does not bind them, but sets them free. Until that love appears, they remain steadfast, knowing that their heart is too precious to be given away carelessly. Solitude is often misunderstood. The world sees it as loneliness, as a void that must be filled. But for the chosen, solitude is not a curse. It is a crucible. It is the place where they are shaped, refined, and strengthened for the battles ahead. Romantic relationships bring comfort, but they also bring distraction. Love demands attention, energy, and emotional investment. For most, this is a beautiful exchange, one that enriches life and brings a sense of belonging. But for the chosen, their path is not one of ease, and comfort is often an obstacle rather than a blessing. The chosen endure long seasons of isolation, not because they are undeserving of love, but because their strength must be built in solitude. This is not an easy process. The nights feel longer, the silence deeper. There are moments of longing, moments where they question whether they are meant to be alone forever. But with time, they begin to see the truth. Their isolation is not punishment, it is preparation. Every great warrior is forged in the fire of solitude. The chosen are no different. They are set apart not just for their own sake, but for the sake of a mission that requires them to be unshakable. Relationships, for all their beauty, often soften the chosen, making them vulnerable in ways that can hinder their purpose. This is why so many of their attempts at love seem to end before they begin. The divine does not allow them to become entangled in something that will weaken them. Instead, they are called into seasons of separation, seasons where they must learn to stand alone. But this solitude is not forever. It is a process, a refining fire that strips away the unnecessary and leaves only what is essential. And when the time is right, when their purpose has been fully embraced, the love that is meant for them will find them, not as a distraction, but as a force that strengthens them further. Until then, they must walk forward, not as those who are lost, but as those who are being prepared. They must embrace their solitude, knowing that it is not emptiness, but a sacred space where they are made into who they were meant to be. Many chosen ones have felt this strange phenomenon, the sudden disappearance of a romantic connection, the unexplained end to a relationship that seemed promising. At first, it feels like loss, like something has been taken away. But in time, they come to see it for what it truly is, divine protection. The chosen are not meant to settle for anything less than what aligns with their mission. This means that when they attempt to enter relationships that do not serve their purpose, those relationships will be disrupted. This is not coincidence, it is intervention. It may come in the form of circumstances, a job change, a relocation, an unexpected shift that pulls them apart. Or it may come in the form of an inner knowing, a deep sense that something is not right, even if everything seems perfect on the surface. The chosen may try to resist this, to hold on to what is slipping away, but the more they fight, the more they suffer. This pattern repeats itself until they finally understand. Love is not something they can force. What is not meant for them will always be removed. And what is truly meant for them will never require a struggle to keep. This realization brings peace. It allows the chosen to stop chasing, to stop mourning what was never truly theirs. They begin to trust that every closed door is a step towards something greater, something that aligns with their purpose in a way they may not yet understand. Until that destined love arrives, they learn to surrender. They learn to let go, not with sadness, but with faith. They stop questioning why things did not work out and start trusting that something better is being prepared for them. And when the time is right, love will come, not as a burden, but as a blessing, not as something they must fight for, but as something that fits effortlessly into the life they were meant to live. The chosen ones are builders. They are warriors. They are visionaries. Their work is not like the work of others, and because of this, their lives do not unfold in the same way. Many chosen ones feel a deep restlessness, a sense that their work is not yet done. This restlessness makes it difficult to settle, to root themselves in a life that feels too small for the calling they carry. And love, for all its beauty, often requires settling. Relationships thrive on stability, on shared dreams and long-term plans. But the chosen are not called to a life of comfort. They are called to build, to move, to create. This means that until their work is complete, they often feel a resistance to commitment, a sense that love is pulling them in a direction they cannot afford to go. This is not a flaw. It is a sign of alignment. The chosen are not meant to anchor themselves in a place where their mission has not yet been fulfilled. They must first complete the work they were sent to do, and only then will love come in a form that does not require them to sacrifice their purpose. Their calling is their first love. Their mission is their greatest commitment. And until that work is finished, everything else, including romance, must wait. The chosen ones often feel as though they are speaking a different language, as though their words carry a weight that few can understand. This is because they are not of this world in the same way others are. They see beyond, they hear beyond, they feel beyond. This creates a deep sense of isolation, even in relationships. They long for someone who understands, someone who sees them not just as a person, but as a soul on a mission. But this kind of connection is rare. It is not found in the ordinary. It is found only in the extraordinary. There are others like them. Scattered across the world, hidden in plain sight, there are those who walk the same road. Though their paths may not always cross, they are never truly alone. And when they do find each other, the connection is unlike anything else. It is not just romantic, it is divine. This is the love the chosen must wait for. Not a love based on fleeting emotion, but a love rooted in purpose. A love that strengthens rather than weakens. A love that does not demand compromise, but encourages destiny. Until that love arrives, they must remain patient. They must trust that their journey is unfolding exactly as it is meant to. They must walk forward, not in loneliness, but in faith. Loneliness is not the curse of the chosen. It is their refinement. The world may not offer them the love they seek, but their journey is not about earthly fulfillment. It is about something greater, something eternal. Perhaps love, as the world defines it, was never meant for them. But the love that awaits beyond this existence, that is a love beyond human comprehension. If this message resonated with you, subscribe and stay connected. There is more to uncover, more to understand. Until next time, stay strong, stay awake, and stay chosen.